All right, let's go ahead and get started here. All right, welcome to AI Wisdom Wednesday with Upper Hand AI. And my name's Kevin MacCauley. I'm excited to be hosting you guys again April 16th. Hard to believe we're halfway through the month of April. So let's dig in. We've got a lot to cover for those folks that are new. This is a monthly call we do on Wednesdays to basically go over anything that's new and exciting in the AI world. And then we go through some live demos, practical ways to use AI to hopefully help you take something away from today. Laugh a little bit, have some good times as it relates to all of us tackling AI together. A quick review of schedule. So we have hit our 3 webinars so far this year. Topics are directly underneath those dates for anybody who may not have been able to join on those dates. So we covered AI, really a recap of 2024 AI highlights, and then focus on, hey, here's what's coming in 2025 in January. We did a Gemini, very light Gemini webinar in February. And then last month we kind of called an AI mixed bag. And today we're going to do marketing with May being an introduction to Manus AI, which I just recently got invited to as part of their beta. Um, the funny thing is with the AI mixed bag is more and more it feels like we almost need to do mixed bag because so many things change and get introduced each month. So we'll have a little bit of a mixed bag, but it'll all be marketing focused today, lead generation, website development, and improvements, et cetera. So the agenda is always the same. We recap what we talked about very quickly last time to help folks that may not have been on that call to possibly go back and watch that webinar and or for folks that did attend to remember opportunities to go out and use AI. Then we'll just share kind of quick trending news, sort of what I would say the top 4 or 5 things that I've seen in the news in the last 30 days. And then we'll cover our new topics with some live demo and a little Q&A at the end. My man Sebastian here in our office is on as our panelist, so feel free to reach out if you have any technical issues or have questions, want us to pull something up. In this live setting, it's not a formal webinar, right? The whole point of this is to really provide some value for folks that are on there, and I personally enjoy researching and doing this stuff. So, all right, let's recap last webinar. We talked about the launch of deep research in ChatGPT. And so now you're seeing with all these AIs, this reference to deep research or research, which is essentially, in some cases, really kind of like agentic AI, where it's basically one prompt is getting the AI to do a ton of different prompts to go throughout the web, different links that you send it, documents, et cetera, to produce, in a lot of cases, really long reports, detailed analysis, you name it. And that's been a big theme in the first quarter and first part of this year. We tested out some new prompts, some really cool stuff. Each AI that we demo continues to add some customization and functionality, and you'll actually see that in one of the updates in the last 30 days. But we covered some new prompts, which is really cool. We created some photos with Midjourney last time because it had been about a year since we reviewed Midjourney together. And so that was a really exciting opportunity to just look at the improvements there. And they've actually just had a big announcement since the webinar we just did on that last month. And then Claude has recently updated some of their project knowledge capabilities, actually just released another new model. And we covered that a little bit in prior webinars as well. So what's trending in the last 30 days in the world of AI? The first is more and more we're seeing people track the memory of your past messages, right? So I'm not sure if Grok is doing that yet, but ChatGPT very much promoted the launch of what they're calling sort of memory in ChatGPT. So it now remembers all your prior conversations. You may recall that in the past, we've created GPTs and other things to sort of store knowledge. This is a big, development and advancement, and will continue to get better with all AI. But basically, every time you're asking it something, unless you're deleting those messages, or changing your settings to not store your history, it's going to remember. So it's going to get much smarter over time when you're asking things like create an ad off of our most recent marketing campaign. You won't have to go find that campaign in a prior conversation or copy and paste that campaign from a Google Doc. It'll just have that campaign for prior knowledge. So this is a big deal because it's again going to get our content to be much more in line with what a human would actually do. We've seen Midjourney 7 was released really in the last 30 days or so. Um, since our last webinar, and it has personalization. So for folks that are out there using Midjourney, it is all image-based generation. It's not chat in any way. It's one of the best true image generation platforms in the market. And they now have something called personalization. So when you go through this process to personalize, you go through 200 images that they present to you, and you pick one of the two that are your favorite. And it just basically tracks the style of imaging that you do like. And we may cover that in a future webinar, but not today. Additionally, new image capabilities is really kind of like the theme the last 30 days in all these AI. You really have seen incredible improvement with the ability to create digital image content with ChatGPT, Grok, uh, Gemini, and Google's AI. You can now actually create with Image Gen 3 images, which I think I have on the next slide. But we'll showcase some of this today when we do our marketing sort of focused live demo today. And then Grok has added workspaces. This is kind of similar to projects and projects on Claude, and it's also similar to folders in ChatGPT. So again, tons of advancement. This isn't even all of it. This is just kind of the ones that sort of rise to the top. And then I mentioned the Google Docs. You can now create your own images. If you use Google, it's called Image Gen 3, and just sort of a screenshot of what that looks like. We've not used that yet. Maybe something we cover in a future webinar. But if you are using G Suite, just know that that's available for you to take a look at. Okay, cool. We've got a few people in chat here. Cool. Colin had asked where can I access previous webinars, and Sebastian shared a link to our YouTube. So feel free to take a look at that. All right, so let's dig into some marketing AI. So with today's topic, there's four areas I want to go, and we may deviate from some of these as we get into our actual prompts. But we're going to start by we've had two volunteers offer their websites to use in their businesses. So we'll focus on those. One of them is Buckets Basketball Training. And we're going to start off by doing, just kind of a quick setup of the marketing initiatives, right? And then we're going to sort of branch off from that. We're going to showcase new ways to create digital content with the growth and improvement of image generation. So we're going to show you some of that today. We're then going to redesign a website, both the content and then the visual. The image generation improvements are getting almost to the point where it can produce an entire landing page and all the text on that page. It misses, a few words, and you'll see it as we demo it. But at this point, it's an incredible way to basically get a great landing page format that you can then go and just copy onto your existing website. So we'll go through that. And then with time, we'll design a few ads for Meta to drive lead acquisition, and I'll show you how to do that again. This is all because of the ability with some of the growth in the image generation and the improvement of the models. All right, so with that, let's jump into a live demo. And just give me a second, got my prompts here. A couple things to keep in mind, I always share this, it's still the internet, so if something outputs something, I can't know what's going to be output. So just FYI, question everything that you do when it comes to new tools. Don't share it unless you want somebody to see it. Treat your data like gold. Don't put all of your data into any of these chat AIs because they store it and keep it. When in doubt, close the browser out is what I always like to say. All right, so let's dig into our use cases here. So let me set up my situation. All right, so we got a few volunteers. I want to thank those folks. College Bound Student Athletics, great, looking website. And then we also got Buckets Basketball Training, great business in Southern Indiana. So we're excited to walk through this one as well. Again, if you're ever interested in being a volunteer with your business, you can submit that to Sebastian, and we'll add you to the next webinar. All right, so you'll notice I keep all my AI tabs up here. I do subscribe to all of them. So we're going to be focused primarily in ChatGPT today. All right, so let's start off with the deep research of market analysis. And I've pre-created this prompt to save a little bit of time. So let me grab it for you, and this can take a little while. I'm just going to get that in there and then I'll explain it as we go. We are going to switch over to the mini model. So one of the things to note with ChatGPT, and I believe they're working on at some point kind of aggregating all these into one model, but some models do different things. Okay, so when we jump back to image generation, we're going to go back into the GPT 4.0. You won't be able to do that with the O1 model, the O3. So we're going to do this real quick. This is fast and advanced reasoning, which is great for deep research. We're going to click deep research. And we'll go ahead and hit submit because it can take a little while to do this. While it's doing that, let's read through. Actually, let me fill this out real quick. So it's asking what we want. One, I think it's Sycamore, Indiana. Let's put the zip code in there at the bottom. All right. Two, you tell me based on website and census data for my zip code. Three, what are the most popular programs or services? You tell me based on the website. And four, do you have specific goals? Yes, we want to increase revenue and grow client base. And the most important, grow our client base and increase loyalty. All right, so let's just go and get this started. This can take a while. So while it's starting its process, what you'll see here, let's go through the prompt. So one of the things that we were asked to do on this webinar around marketing is folks really wanting to better understand how can you leverage AI from a marketing perspective. So, how do I evaluate my business? How do I, then take that evaluation, focus on getting more customers, through lead gen, client acquisition. How do I improve my website? How to improve my digital, sort of brand experience online. And so we're doing that by starting first with having AI conduct a full market analysis on my company. So you would just obviously replace this with your company name. And then I'm asking it to focus on the following in the research report. One, an overview of the current business offering about my business. I also want a detailed overview of my current target market. I want to map my target market to my current offerings. And then I want to provide suggestions on how to improve or add to my current offerings to grow the business faster. And then lastly, provide some lead generation strategies to reach my target audience. Okay. And so it's currently going through that. It can take a while. So I actually did this ahead of time so that we don't spend the whole time sitting here waiting. But just note that sometimes these models do take a while when we're doing the deep research. So let me pop in here and show you what an output looks like. All right, so you can see it's the same prompt that I was using a second ago, same, very similar answers. And this was the prompt, sort of the output it gave us, right? Some really good stuff when I looked at this. And frankly, just reading this, putting this in a Google Doc, printing it, if I ran and owned Buckets basketball, there's so much knowledge in here to improve my business. It's incredible. But since we're talking marketing, let's focus on, some of those pieces, right? So you got target market demographics. It's telling us the type of population that we have, the household income for Seymour, Indiana. So it's basically giving us the demographic for our area. Okay. And then it's looking at local youth sports infrastructure. So it actually knows, what high schools there, some of the local rec leagues, et cetera. And then it's offering more information about the local region. And then it's going to align our target market with our offerings. So it knows youth beginners, elementary ages, and it knows what the needs are for those folks, how buckets can align. So the basketball skills training offering designed to build individual fundamentals. So it's even giving you exactly what to focus on for that particular target market. Okay. And this is incredibly valuable because we can convert this into our website content and our ads and all this sort of stuff that we're going to do right now. Then it does middle school. So it keeps going. Summary of alignments, identify some gaps and opportunities. There you go. Sorry, I had to cough for a second. Recommendations to increase clients and revenue. So this is starting to get into, all right, well, how do we actually grow? Okay, this is business model stuff. So it's recommending introducing specialized clinics and camps. Um, Having been in this space for 12 years, I would say that's definitely in line with what we would recommend or see. These low dollar, larger group events can be great lead gen events, and now it's going to actually give, some specific examples. Should we launch a summer camp, maybe an upcoming holiday like a Memorial Day camp, and then it gives a few ideas for themed clinics. And then it's going to say, all right, well, how do we create tiered training programs or membership models? Again, being in the space, we know this is very, very good advice because we want recurring revenue, right? The best businesses are recurring revenue, no matter what space you're in. It's just better for your business overall, and it's easier to forecast. And then it gives three different options. So we actually have plans for what those memberships could look like. Okay, so this is really awesome. There's so much here that we could do that we could spend several hours together working on it. It does give digital marketing approaches like social media, et cetera, but we just don't have time to go through all of it. Although I do want to, this is a cool idea, so we may venture off here and do something with this in a second. But let me show you how the new um, image generation stuff works. So let's ask ChatGPT now to focus on new ways to create some digital content. Let's start by taking a look at, all right, we could use maybe a new logo and a brand and style guide, right? So let's go ahead and try doing that. I'll lose this information, but we'll come back for it. All right, now to do images, I got to go back to GPT 4.0. Okay, so just remember that, and it's not a big deal if put in your prompt here and run it. It'll just give you text, and you'll be like, oh, I need to change something to get the image. So that kind of be your reminder to go back in the prior to change your model. Okay, so we're going to say um, design a new logo in vector format on a white background for the following business: buckets, basketball, training. Use this website. Actually, we'll wait for a second on the brand guide. So let's design this first. Show you how that works. The image generation doesn't take as long. It can take a minute or two. For fun, let's go ahead and ask Grok to design one too. See who we think does better. And then we'll just wait a second here. So we have a question. Will we send out our presentation afterwards? We will. And we have another question. Does this allow an individual franchisee or facility operator to write their own annual business plan? The answer would be yes. And it will help in describing and help you basically create that marketing plan. For that use case, you'd actually just create a project, call it annual business plan, and then you'd be able to store your assets, and then it's going to use that project's conversations, as knowledge for any future prompts. All right, cool. So this is pretty decent little logo. We could ask you to create another one. One thing that's really cool about the improved image generation with ChatGPT is you can actually click the image and then make changes to it. So, this looks a little clip arty. So maybe we'll say replace the basketball icon with another graphic. It's more modern. I'll just see what that does. If it creates something terrible, we'll you can do a lot of cool things. So you could ask it to maybe remove the background, change the background color. If it misspelled basketball, you could say keep the logo, but fix the spelling, and it would actually keep the logo this time. Whereas prior to these image updates, it would create a whole new logo for you. So let's see that. Crocs were much more childish, so again, I don't think Grok's going to be great for the logos right now. Again, all these things keep getting better with each iteration. So let's let this keep going. And I'll set up my next prompt here. So after this, I want to we'll create a style guide. We may skip the style guide for time. Let's see.
Hey, Kevin, we have a question from Steve.
Yeah. Oh, can we use a similar process to edit our LinkedIn profile pages? Yes, absolutely. So that happens sometimes. Just click retry. We have a logo, so I'll go with, I'll just go ahead and keep going. But that's how you would edit that particular image. If we have time at the end, Steve, I'll show you how to do the LinkedIn stuff. I'll just use my own profile. All right, so we designed a logo. Let's stop this. Let that start it. But now I have to let it go because I want to see what it is. And then let me ask you guys, would there be a preference to um, see a style guide created off this, or would you like me to go into the designing the new website landing page and then designing an ad with that new information? All right, this one looks a little better, much better. Yeah, it's got a little swag to it. All right, we'll move on with this. All right, so now let's ask it to create, all right, style guide. Style guide you get, Daryl. Now we're gonna ask it to create a brand and style guide using the new logo and my website. Which we said, well, it should know what the website is since we used it before. So one of the big updates with ChatGPT's image generation is it handles text much better than previously. So you can create infographics, pretty much anything. You can create street signs, and it does a really good job. So right now it's creating a style guide, the text version. That's cool. And now I'm gonna have a design a style guide for us. Create an infographic. I did not pre-plan this prompt, so let's see what happens. But that's what I would do if I was doing it on my own. Keep going. Now this would be a great tool to use for that market analysis we just did. One of the things that recommended was launching some camps and clinics in this case. So for anybody else who runs a different type of business, that sort of entry level consumer, purchase, we could use what they gave us and ask this to create a flyer, a digital flyer, and it'll now create flyers with almost completely accurate text. You might see some areas where the text is incorrect, and you can actually then try to edit it. So here we can see buckets is spelled wrong. That's fine. We would just click the image and say, keep the style, fix the spelling of buckets. But you can tell for those that have been on these webinars with us, I mean, this is a dramatic step in improvement of image generation. The fact that it's literally designed an entire um, brand and style guide with full text with some misspellings, but that's obviously going to get better with time, right? So here you go. brand new guide. I don't think we really want an orange, so we could say, which we're not going to for time's sake, but we could say, change orange to, to red, and fix any misspellings. But this is great, right? All right, so now we're going to say, we're going to copy and paste this website. Actually, we'll just, copy and paste the content. And we're going to say, using my new style guide, design a new landing page for my website. The image should be of the full page with approved content for SEO and updated images. I'm just pasting that content here. Yeah, let's see what happens. We'll give it another second. I need to start making these webinars 45 minutes. Here we go. It's on the way. Now for college bound, we would do the same thing here. Great opportunity to update, any particular area. Looks like it might even be using some AI, which is awesome. And obviously, you don't have to do just a landing page, right, guys? You can, update any page you want. For an image like this, that's probably coming from an older image generation. You can use Midjourney, and it'll fix that completely. Um, Actually, I'll just open up Midjourney somewhere else real quick and show you. Since if that person's on here, I want to make sure they can see how to fix that real quick. And let's see if this is working yet. Head over here. All right, that's taking a second to load. So while that's doing that, I'll show you this example of some images here. So here's an example. Oh, there you go. Cool. All right, so we have a lot happening here. So here's an example of the quality of images on Midjourney, and this is a field hockey image prompt. So if you have images that you're getting kind of deformed people and faces, highly recommend Midjourney. It'll change the game for you. That's just one of infinite examples. But here we go. Look, it's pretty sweet. So we've got a new landing page. Again, colors might be off. We don't have a logo, but we could ask it to add a navigation menu at the top. But this is a hell of a landing page for lead gen, right? So let's keep this and say, okay, this will be our new landing page we're going to add to our website. And now let's ask it, because I know it's part of our webinar here, is create an ad. So let's say, this is great. Now create an ad to use on Facebook ads. The ad should follow Facebook's text guidelines and should have an image in the ad. Let's see what that does. Now, if we wanted to, start talking marketing, I know we're, short on time on some of the stuff, but going back to that market analysis, if we had this copy and paste and say Google Doc, we could literally make this landing page, the more specific you make your landing page to a target market, the higher the conversion rate. So in this case, that market research had said, hey, here's your youth athletes, here's your middle school athletes. We could ask it to then, we could copy and paste that target market where it's aligned our offering and say, okay, now adjust this landing page specific to this target market for this event. Okay. And then it's going to update this with that content, which is fantastic. So that is truly driving organic lead gen. You're not spending any money. And this stuff would normally cost, I don't know how many people and agencies you'd have to work with to get this stuff done, but Here's a pretty cool one. Let's see what their people look like. I know they're um, the people generation in ChatGPT is getting better too. It's not quite on the mid-journey level, but I mean, it's pretty sick right now. So let's have it keep going. And I got a couple other things to show. I'll stay on a few extra minutes for people. All right, cool. So we got a pretty good idea here, and this is great. So we've got the text we'd need to add to our Facebook ad. We'd use our own logo, um, etc. To give you an example of what that looked like when I did it before, we jump into another one. This is the landing page it created. I actually like this one quite a bit. A little bit more misspelling, but then where's that ad at? Maybe I did it somewhere else. So we'll deal with that later. But anyway, let me show you one other thing on image generation because I think this is pretty cool. So when you're creating, if you're wanting some again digital content was one of the things in the webinar. So there's the ad. So this is an example of all right. Well, I want to design a sticker set, right? So stickers are a popular thing. You can order them on was it Sticker Monkey or whatever. Uh, that people put on laptops is a great marketing tool. So I actually just said, hey, without even putting a logo in here or anything, I asked it to design a Buckets basketball training chibi sticker set. And it gave, all right, here are the 10 types of stickers I'm going to create. And then it designed them. So you literally have what would take, a designer and cost you money. And these obviously don't have your logo, right? We can make them a little more specific. So you can now create sticker sets in the new image generation for digital content, which you could then print and just give away for free at your front desk. People do that all the time. I asked it to design it in the vintage 90s anime style. And now it's designed, it's a little basketball thing. Again, without giving it a logo, any real guidance on the brand. And then we designed an ad for this. So we actually had it create um, an ad. This was the ad it created, which obviously has way too much text. So then I said to it, design an ad with the below information using the image on Facebook ads. And then it created this. And I said, all right, the ad image should follow Facebook text guidelines because this obviously would never work as an ad. It's great content though. And then it created a really good ad right here. It almost looks like it's on Facebook. So gives us, what it would look like is your sort of headline, all the cool information that you'd want for this, right? So again, great way to drive digital content. There's some other cool um, types of images you can create. You can actually do like a Minecraft style. So you could ask it to create an image in Minecraft style, really anything. I actually had it for fun. I'll show you real quick and then we'll close to wrapping up. You'll notice the office behind me. I asked ChatGPT to create it in what's called Ghibli style. And this is what it created. And it literally looks almost just like my office. It's got the lamp, computers, some books, etc. So this is some cool stuff. Like for again for your digital content, you could do this. Do a Ghibli style of clients. Of an athlete each day. People love that stuff. Put your logo down in the bottom left-hand corner. Then they start sharing that stuff, and now we're driving leads all across the board. Okay. I really wish we had more time because there's so much in here that I would love to be able to work on with you guys, particularly that membership piece. But I do like to stick to time to know people have schedules. Um, so I hope this has been helpful. I would highly recommend joining next time. We're going to cover something called Manus.ai that's been all the rage. I just got access to it. It's right here. I've not put a single prompt in it yet. And we're going to go through and I'm going to learn how to use this for you guys so we can cover this next time. If you have not signed up for their beta, they're slow rolling invites out. So I would highly recommend going to manus.ai and just putting in your email so that way you're on the list for when they rolled out to you. And again, we'll cover this next time. But let me stop sharing there. I'll take any additional questions that people might have. Otherwise, huge shout out and thanks to the volunteers. And for the other business we did not get to, college bound student athletics, we'll be sure to include you next time. And if anybody else would like to be volunteered in these future webinars, just let us know. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, appreciate everybody's time. Go have a great day. Thank you.